So, bonus video for this one. This one is just a bonus video, and I'm just going to quickly talk about using magnifying glasses, such as these, to concentrate sunlight so that we can make that beam that you get. You know, when you mess around, see where I'm moving it here? I'm using a light, and you see this little brighter part here where I've concentrated the light. You then have this hot beam, if you see it there. Now obviously my light source is over there, and the sun light source will travel through these ones, which would then make a very, very big beam, not a small one like this, across this whole entire table. And it would be very hot, very, very hot indeed, enough to melt metal and do all sorts. But anyway, so forget the table for a second. Not only could this be used to make water, it could also be used to, how could it make water? Well, it would aim towards an element at the bottom of a barrel, and this barrel will be filled with salt water, and this beam would aim towards that element. The element would then heat the salt water inside a barrel. The salt water would then steam off. You would then collect the vapor, condense it, and it should be a purer form. And eventually, once you've boiled away most of your salt water inside one barrel, you will be left with some salt crystals. Once you have removed those salt crystals, you then fill it again with salt water, and then the same thing happens again. Collect the steam, condense the steam, and it should fall down into a purer form of water. If there's still a large amount of salt left in the steam that you've evaporated and collected, you can use the same process again to then heat the next barrel and have that aimed to your condensed salt water that you've steamed and collected and condensed, and you've collected that and it's made a fresher form. You then get your beam, it moves over to the next barrel and steams that one again. It condenses, so it boils that water away. It will then condense, and then you'll have even more fresher water until the freshness level and purification is at its purest form, enough and safe for human, animal and plant consumption. And that's what you could do with that. Another idea with this magnifying beam is to have a tube, a cylinder, a massive cylinder that reaches right up into the sky, quite high. Not too high, but high enough for this process to work. At the bottom of the tubed cylinder, here I'll just use this, it's probably easier to explain it. If you were to punch some holes in this, and it would be a see-through, it would be transparent, okay? And in the bottom here, you would punch away a few holes, and a few vent holes here. You would make a few holes in the bottom, and what you would do is you would have this magnifying beam aimed at the bottom of this transparent cylinder, and at the bottom you'd have a nice thick bit of metal, and this beam would then aim at the bottom of it, basically the metal slab inside this transparent column of your tube. And what you would have inside this tube are a series of basically, if you've ever been near a log fire and you can go down to an ironworks shop, Google it online. I can't remember what the proper name of them are, but there are these little iron fans. They sit and they're very heavy, and they sit like this, and inside the middle of them they have this iron fan blade. And when you put it on top of your log burner, through convection, it causes the metal iron, it's really heavy by the way, to spin at a really fast rate, and it blows the air, the hot air, into your room. That's the idea of it anyway. So, and it doesn't require any electricity whatsoever to power this ironworks. It works, its energy comes from convection, where the hot air rises really fast and it catches this, and that hot air rising spins this iron fan blade. Now, let's say we use the same process inside our tube, but we don't use iron, we use a material that can take a lot of heat. And we put one of these fan blades inside here, and we connect a motor to the back of it, so that when our magnifying beam aims at the bottom of this piece of metal that we've got in there, it allows the cool air to rush in here, get heated by the metal that's inside there, that metal object, and as it starts to rise really fast, it should power the fan blades inside here. Now maybe we could put these in series. How many fan blades could we put inside the tube? 10, 15, who knows? And we make them lightweight. And we attach nice big dynamo turbines, let's say, on the back of these fan blades, so that when the convecting air rushes up, the hot air wants to rise really fast, and the cold air is being sucked in through those holes we made in the bottom and the side of the metal slab. And the metal slab is being heated by a device like this one, where the sunlight is traveling through the lens. We then got our little mag beam, which is this really bright bit here, and hot bit as well. Remember, these get very hot. And we aim that hot, bright bit at the bottom there on that piece of metal, and it should allow this convection to take place. And as it convects through the tube that we have built with our fan blades, it will spin the fan blades, thus powering or generating energy inside our dynamo, which will then take that energy and use it in our houses or to power our air conditioning or whatever. Okay, this process is not foolproof because, let's be honest, it would only work in hot regions. So like America, for example, I think they have Nevada desert. We've got Sahara desert as well. Could also use this process. It would work quite nicely to generate copious amounts of energy. Now, in most deserts, not many people live there. Let's be realistic. So would it really matter if we had several of these and these situated in the desert to generate large amounts of power that don't use any fossil fuels whatsoever? And you could be like, well, what about the motors? Manufacturing motors, you need fossil fuels for that. Well, you could make your motors on here via shaping them and melting your copper and melting the outer side of it, let's say the metal casing. Everything that you would need could be made from this, and followed on from the volcano version where you put all your fragments of metal in there, then hover your bell across the your tomb across the volcano. The volcano's heat then heats all the metal inside the tomb, and it makes a metal slab. Drop the slab out and then bring it to one of these. You could then use this to shape whatever you wanted to make your motors, dynamos, whatever you want to call them. So, and not only that, around the desert as well, let's situate a few of these. What is this? Well, this is a solar panel here, and at the top of it, it has an automatic lens magnification device. This is what this is. And the sunlight, again, shines through here in the early hours of the morning, so when the sun just starts to rise. And it will be further away from the panel then, so that it can concentrate more light on the panel and generate more electricity. And then just as the sun is, say, like midday, this would have already have started to sink. The whole lens would have dropped down closer to the panel so that it's not melting our panel, and it's not basically acting as a lens, it's just taking the light, it's just going straight through it as it is. And then just as the sun starts to set, it starts to lift back up again to concentrate more of the sun's photons at the panel, thus for creating more power at sunset and sunrise. And during the peak from, let's say, 10 a.m. till 3 p.m, it will be close to the panel because the sun is at the right height in the sky, and it's generating enough power on its own. If we were to add more lens magnification to the solar panel, it'd probably melt the panel. So keeping it close, it won't melt the panel. And then just as the sun starts to set, the panels start dipping in power. So if we added the magnification again, it would then generate the power so that it was back just like it was from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. So the same intensity of power would be for longer on the solar panel, just by using a magnification lens that sat on top and was automatic at sunrise. It was up high, and then just as we got to 10 a.m. it then fell to the panel, and then as the sun started to set, the lens would rise back up once again and stay there until the morning. And then as the sun started to rise and more energy was being felt from the panel, it would start to dip back down slowly so that we don't melt our panel. So there are two processes, maybe three, because you're making water with this idea. This idea can generate water. This idea can also heat quartz so that you can make solar panels. make motors. You can also make energy via spinning turbines. 4 uses, 5 uses. You could just keep going with this, to be fair. It would work in desert regions, perhaps. Places like here in the UK, it might work in our summers. So the height of summer, douche, it'd give us a bit more power on the grid. So if people started turning on their air conditioning units, we wouldn't have any blackouts, or we wouldn't have any loss of power. It lowers the demand of covering the planet in solar panels. So eventually, if we were to go completely green, we'd have to cover the whole entire planet in solar panels. Could you imagine that? It's exaggerating quite a lot. So I am exaggerating quite a lot is what I'm saying. But lots and lots of solar panels, you would need less if you used a magnification device. Now, solar panels don't give you power at night. And again, with this idea, you could generate power in the cylinder that then powered the turbines using convection. These could charge batteries for nighttime power, you know? And also if you used it on the solar panel, some of this extra peak power could be used for daytime power for everybody's needs. And then just as the sun started to set and at sunrise, that extra power could be used to power your battery bank and fill your battery bank, giving us just a little bit more power at night. So yes, but as I say, I have got another video to go on with. This is just a bonus video just to cover what I said in my last one, just to clarify it and try and make it make a bit more sense, to be fair. So yeah, continuous power devices are going to be 4 weeks from about now, so give or take. Next month, at the end of next month, possibly, will be when I start to get on those, so I can't wait. Quite a few breakthroughs personally, but there we go. That's just a quick bonus video, and that's just to highlight what I said in the last one. So yeah, have a great weekend everyone. See you in the next.